little Zacky boy is away from the camera, as if I don't know.
Why don't you let him talk
you
now?
can see me out on the streets, Paul. Paul, see,
you don't go anywhere. You don't do anything.
When you went on your little rant after you got me off the first time we interacted, you said you were just watching me out on the streets of New York, and then you went on to say that I can only speak when I have a group of people around me, which isn't true.
So what do you do on the ground to make a change?
You didn't know
what do you do
was,
in your own life without a group to make a change? He's censoring me and muting me. What do you do individually to make a change?
You're interrupting and you're not actually listening.
I'm asking a question like I asked.
I didn't ask for your excuses. I'm pointing out your behavior, Paul, and what you're doing is you're playing your power games. You're not actually listening to what the feedback is. You want to play this tough boy. Why don't you meet up?
So here's the thing about Paul, and sadly, it seems like a lot of your channel, Jack, is the people who follow Paul. And honestly, here's what I see in a guy like Paul. Paul's trying to act like he's tough right now. Now, Paul, I would be embarrassed to upload the video you did about a month and a half ago where you would not tell the cops your own name, but then you asked the woman who was with you to share her name. So I was like, wow, Paul hides behind a woman. That's something I would never do. So again, for this acting like this tough guy online, I see who you are. You're the type of guy who would hide behind a woman when you feel that you're in danger. That's who I see that you are, Paul. And again, just right there, he revealed that he's a liar too, because he didn't know who I was. And again, all I did was reach out to collaborate. He had to turn it into a scene. And you see, he's not a serious individual. And all these people that hang out with him who come into your channel, Jack, I'd encourage you to maybe move on from these people because they are not coming here to learn or to contribute. They're just coming here to, I don't know, whatever it is about Paul and his community, something about just being online, giving people a hard time, instigating, triggering people, seeing if you can get their goat. I mean, this is just their game every day. The guy who came on a little bit ago, who I assume is also from Paul's community, he has the sunglass thing and the sharp nose, looks like the rest of the Saturday crew that Paul hangs out with, if you follow what I'm saying. Again, just the way he talks in the condescending tone, he asked, like, I don't know what I need to do as a person to get motivated to become a better person. Or he made some statement like that. He said he just wants to have fun and, you know, whatever, do coke and whatever else he said. You know, that was my mindset when I was 18 years old. And then something happened in the world that made me realize that there was more to life than chasing women and smoking weed and doing a little coke and partying. I mean, we all have that inside of us, that we want to have that fun and entertainment and pleasure. But there should be something else inside of us that when we see that there's something like seriously wrong in the world, that as a man, you should feel like compelled to do something about that serious problem. That's what I saw when I was 18, when 9/11 happened. I wasn't anybody's fool, and I knew we were obviously being lied to. And I remembered how just a summer earlier, I was in a military recruiter's office, and he was telling me that this was the best time ever to join the military because there'd probably never be another war in my lifetime. He was acting like he was 1,000,000% sure about that. And I didn't want to be a part of the U.S. military because I understood from a young age it was kind of a force that was deployed to kill innocent brown people. That's kind of always how I saw the U.S. military. And so I didn't join the military, but I thought, man, I almost did to get that money for school. And I thought, man, I'd probably be being deployed right now to go bomb some innocent brown people because supposedly a man in a cave did this. What a load of BS. But I knew we were being lied to, and I saw how serious it was, how serious the lie was, how obvious the lie was, how obvious the demolition of the towers was. And then I said, you know what? I'm an 18-year-old person. I'm going to Arizona State University, partly because I got a scholarship there, but also because there's not a lot of nice ladies, and it was a fun place to be. But then I had this shift in my worldview of like, I need to improve myself as a person. I need to figure out what I can do to solve this corruption that I see. And so anyhow, I'm talking too long, but the point I'm saying is there are problems in the world, and most people are totally apathetic to these problems, and that they're acting like, again, the way I feel is we're watching a house burn, and almost everybody's acting like that's not their house burning. And the metaphorical house is this earth. We're watching it just deteriorate in so many ways. I look at the children of the earth as I drive past the elementary school at recess time, and I see that like the statistics aren't false. Literally half of them are obese. And I
Right.
think, oh my
Exactly.
God, when I was a kid in the
Exactly.
90s, there was one obese child out of 500 in the
Yes.
school.
Zach, please. Yes, all of those things. We're seeing the world changing, and the corruption is undeniable. I didn't wake up. I mean, I started asking questions around 9/11, but I didn't pursue investigating. But when I started looking, people have done investigations. There's people who have been sharing the truth of the corruption and all this nonsense that's going on. So back to where we are in these YouTube, in this online little realm, I feel like I'm here trying to go in this direction, and I've got like this barrier of these other panels that go around talking about Jack, not in good ways, but so I've got a dark cloud around me, including Paul, who's still in the back, that I'm hoping to break through. But what I see in Paul and many of the others who have found their way here, we're all on this life journey. Some of these, what Paul can learn is some humility so that he can become more authentic. And when he authentically is willing to cooperate with people, well, that's an example for others. So
absolutely. Again, if Paul could just drop the whole ego thing and just focus on the knowledge that he's aware of that most people don't have, and just focus his time on teaching that and sharing that and wanting to collaborate. And if somebody reaches out to him and says, hey, do you want to come share that on my channel? Just be like, absolutely, that's what I'm here to do, rather than look for some reason to be like, oh, you're not worthy of. It's not about who's worthy of you.
right.
Don't you want to get out your message?
That's
I
the
mean,
key.
So
Paul's been patient. If he wants to respond, I'd like to give him a chance.
More condescending, disingenuous, fake bullshit. You just made a statement about me and my character. It's a false statement. I wasn't hiding behind a woman. Okay. I wasn't on the paperwork. So if the man, what's with the faces? What's with all the faces?
Because we all saw the video where you encourage her to put out her name and you don't say anything.
I said, you're on the paperwork. If you wish to give your given and family name to check with the owner so they can verify that you're on that paperwork, we can go from there. I don't hide behind people. So I don't know where you got that from. I met Jennifer a year and a half, 2 years ago. I've been doing this for close to a decade, over 5 online. And I've sacrificed many times and dealt with consequences many times. So you just projected onto me to get back at me because you don't like how I've dealt with you. But there's a reason why I didn't want to work with you and still don't. And you keep ignoring that and projecting onto me and what I'm doing to spin the narrative. Why don't you just take accountability?
Paul, you find excuses and you give these variables so much weight that you can't find a way to understand. You can't find a way to respect. Paul, you're confused, brother.
Okay. I'm confused.
Yes.
So just let me be that then.
Why?
I say you're cowardly. You say I'm confused. I guess you're not, and I am. Let it be that.
Why do you not care to resolve or overcome your confusion?
I'm open to it if I can hear something that compels me to accept what you're putting forth with any kind of gravitas, but I don't. I hear arguments to false authority and appeals to emotion. I don't see or hear any accountability.
Your ego is filtering what you hear with all these labels and definitions. And if you actually just allowed yourself to chill and really listen to the feedback and what's being said, you're not under attack. People are offering you, Paul, if you considered this, your life might improve. The lives of other people might improve. I mean,
so wait, is this about my life improving or other people's lives improving?
You're an aspect of the world. I care about the world. I really don't. I do and I don't care about you. I mean, I've grown to love you, but God, your fucking ego, man.
Wait, I thought that your scripture says that you're not supposed to love the world in its ways. Quite the opposite.
Those words are often misunderstood. How about we love the life we've been given despite our
Absolutely.
place
Can
in
you
the
point me
world.
to what you folks do that show that you're thankful and grateful for the life and time you've been given to go past
Yeah,
the fears and deal with the
yeah,
challenges and live in faith and
uh-huh.
honorability?
Yep, sure can. But you haven't been willing to look.
I didn't say am I looking or not. I said, can you put that forth?
Right.
We've been waiting for 3 years for
It's
both of you
been
to put something forth that
available.
you
Hello,
actually do
Paul.
other than
Right. See what you're doing. You're not paying attention. You're trying to repeat. And what
Just-
I'm offering is that the evidence of good is there for you to find.
again,
You don't
you
look.
could say that I'm shallow and judgmental. You could take
Yes,
one
you
look at
are.
this guy. You could
You
take
are
one look at
shallow
this
and
guy and tell
judgmental.
not only is he a
He's
coward and a beta male, but that he's disingenuous and he's a fraud. You could tell by just his facial expressions and the way he
Oh,
speaks.
Are you talking about
oh.
yourself? Yeah.
No one describes you better than yourself, Paul.
I
You
don't
just
count numbers and sell
way
sports
more.
No,
scores.
here. Again,
I don't
Paul,
sell
see,
sports
this is what
scores for
Paul's talking about
gambling.
both sides of his mouth. In one
I don't
hand,
ask
he's
for
not
millions of
following any
dollars
of
a
us. He
month
doesn't
to get
know
my
anything
father a
about us.
house.
And then, and the next sentence, you're talking about what I've been doing. Again, Paul, for 5 years, I was here every day putting out unprecedented information for free, not raising any money, not selling anything, no ads, nothing. Doing it on my own savings, making my own sacrifice, and I changed a lot
Yeah,
of
you
people's
and
lives.
everybody
You
else
see all the
online.
stories
What
I
has that
heard
led
back then,
to?
the ways I changed people's life. Living a life of service and not asking for anything in return. And for doing that, my house was ransacked November 15th, 2014. I lost
Because you were
everything I
serving
had
yourself.
going.
You weren't serving a
I've
higher
been
calling.
threatened and had cars crashed through
You're
my
not
house on
getting it.
Christmas Eve.
You're not getting
I put
it.
up with a lot of stuff, Paul.
The demons want you back. They don't believe you and your bullshit online hype, right? That's why your service didn't amount to anything. Because it
What
was
do you mean it didn't amount to
self-indulgent.
anything?
You proved that long term when you switched your whole setup to pay me monthly. I got sports
No,
scores
that's
for
not what my
gambling.
setup
You
is.
even
That's
admitted
not
on my
what setup
broadcast
is.
that your woman told you
No.
make some money or she's gone. You admitted that.
That's not what
So
I
you're a
said,
simp
Paul.
trick. The
No,
Babylonian
I didn't
harlot
say, "Oh, she's
Jezebel got
gone."
you.
No, that's
You
not what I
didn't
said.
pass
Paul,
the test. You failed.
shift
And ever
everything.
since you think because you got some
No,
money and a few
Paul.
thousand
Well,
viewers,
you try to shift the truth of things and then put it in your own perspective, which is dishonest. No, Sweet Lady and I did butt heads in 2018 when the feds came out to my house to intimidate and falsely accuse. And she said, "Look at everything you have going, Zach. You've had everything stolen from you. You've had the house ransacked. Your profession won't hire you anymore. You're blacklisted from teaching. Now you got the feds coming out here and threatening you." She said, "You got to switch something up." I said, what do you think about monetizing the sports work? What should we see? And she said, "Well, you can try that and see what happens." That appeased her. That didn't mean she was out of here if I didn't do that. And you know why people came in and rushed in to financially support for the sports work? Because I changed a lot of people's lives with that work, just like we're doing it every week in the National Fix League. Again, Paul, I don't know why you're such a hater about it. Again, look, I'm not trying to make this about a gambling thing.
You're
but again,
wasting
I
your
taught people how
breath.
to turn $1 into $500.
Yeah, you're wasting
Okay,
your
that's a
breath.
skill.
You're not going to get anywhere with it. You got to show proof. You got to show proof of
There-
what it is,
look
what
at all
you're
the bet
doing.
slips. Just go look on
It
the
doesn't
thing.
matter.
What do you mean show
No.
proof? There's proof all over the place.
Well, and that's what I was trying to point out. Paul's not looking for the proof. He's looking for, he has cognitive bias. He looks for confirmation of what he thinks. He doesn't look at what is real. Paul has been publicly mocking me as a man a couple of years now.
But you know why, Jack? Because sometimes he admits it. The reason he's mad is because your dad or his father is
I know.
is in your channel. He said that. He has a jealousy about that. And the
Well,
thing is too, Paul just came
that's
up in
the
my feed
ego.
out of nowhere after 2 years of not interacting with him. I decided to hop back in and try it out again because I still do like things about Paul, even though I don't like his character. I can separate the character that I don't like from Paul from what he has to offer.
Right.
But I hop in there and immediately he's talking about what's going on with my financial life and what he believes, like how many homes I own. And I was just
Right.
like, this isn't even the conversation. But then you see, he's like,
Exactly.
I'm not paying attention to you. It's like, really? You seem to be up on everything the trolls are saying. You seem to be right in tune with everything the
Right.
whole troll network's got going against me.
Right.
And see, the thing is, Paul, I got introduced to through Brian, and Brian's another guy who likes to cast shade at me for no reason, even though you would think him and I are on the same page. Neither of us like the federal government. We both think it needs to be done away with. You think Brian would be receptive to what I'm saying. You would think Paul would be receptive to what I'm saying. Him and I are largely aligned along with you. All three of us are largely aligned on what we don't like. We don't like this
And
tyranny.
why we're not working together instead of talking about each other, I have no clue. So why are we? Brian is another one, man. He's another great guy, very strong, very educated, but he's caught up in the damn money system just like Paul. They can't think beyond the fiat currency, and it's like, hey,
Yeah,
we
so
are.
Paul, like Jack and I are here to put out a message and try to make positive change. I want to say that you are too, but the thing is, anytime anyone tries to interact with you, you just turn it into some reason to make it a hate fest. And look at the people who are following you. Just a bunch of weirdo hater trolls. Is that what you want your legacy to be, Paul? That you brought more hater, weirdo trolls into the world online who hide behind anonymous screen names?
Zach, here, we don't want to categorize everyone like that. There are many, and this is what I've been saying. What I honestly see with Paul, and I've tried communicating this with him personally, but he doesn't want to talk to someone like me. He wants to argue. It's a group and a gathering of people who are trauma bonding. Paul and many of these open panel conversations, the behavior is worse than high school kids who are lacking purpose, right? It's grown men and women entertaining themselves by complaining, by blaming, by arguing, by gossiping. Paul, when you're not gossiping, complaining, and blaming, you have a lot of wisdom that can be shared. The world is crying out for leaders, not bosses and bullies, but Paul doesn't understand. He doesn't understand groups, the group dynamic, working together.
He's very individualistic, and he'll even speak about that. And that's exactly how the cabal, the people who rule over us, want us to be, because they know if we're all just a bunch of individuals, that we're never going to overcome what they have organized against all of us. That's why, Paul, when you speak to that, you become part of the problem.
That's what I've been saying.
It's like he thinks he has it all figured out. Paul, you have a great thing figured out that most people are not aware of. It's a very valuable set of knowledge that you do have. And I don't know why you just don't spend all your time sharing that. You'd be doing a lot better online if you just spent all your time sharing that knowledge and collaborating. You'd have a way bigger audience. Whatever you're trying to achieve, you'd be a lot closer to achieving it.
That's the reason I'm here, Jack. If I could, Paul does have great knowledge and everything of what's going on with the sovereign cit or whatever. I know that's like the wrong term or whatever, the detached American jurisdiction, citizen, non-citizen, whatever. But the time has come, and the judges and the courts and the police are onto this stuff. And so you guys want accountability for Paul. Well, the Times are going to be holding Paul to account. It's pretty much, I'm seeing channels pop up. They're not putting up with this stuff. They're calling it out. They're laughing it out of court. They're getting convicted. And, the jig is up, kind of, so to speak. So, I just wanted to, let Paul know that, you're going to have to adapt a little bit now and maybe like add a prepper tag to your knowledge, because I think that game is coming to an end. And I respect Paul. Heck, I even fear the guy when I'm up on his panel, and I know Jesus Christ. So, I think that he does have a lot of talent. He's got leadership qualities, and I'm rooting for him. But I just want to make him aware of what's going on.
Well,
so
if you want
him to be accountable. The times are changing. It's going to hold him to account. That's all I have.
Right. You're absolutely right. If you guys care about Paul, please, I've been unable to get through to him, but maybe if someone who Paul trusts would encourage him to actually have a conversation with me instead of his looping arguments. I actually know leadership very well. The principles of it, they're very simple. It just takes the willingness and the mentorship for it to flourish. But I understand leadership. I could help Paul become a greater leader. I could help others become greater leaders. I mean, that's kind of what my hope is in stepping out on these social media, is I'm hoping to find people who are willing to make some introductions, help me grow with these messages, greater platforms. And it doesn't have to be on my channel. I just want to share the message out. It's time for the world to change. And if we want the world to change, it's going to be through us.
Well, can I say something here, Jack? Because my phone's about to die, and I've been listening to a lot of nonsense about Paul and a lot of time wasted on Paul. You know, there's a lot of talk. I don't see a lot of doing. I spent this entire week taking taxpayers' dollars and handing out water and food and MREs and diapers, adult diapers, tampons, pads, baby wipes to all these hurricane victims. And I can tell you, it's a freaking calling. Like, I have literally changed so many people's lives just with my one little van here. And you're talking about, you know, the government, this and that. Yeah, I hate the government, but I tell you what, we're putting money to work for these people. These people haven't had a hot meal. These people haven't had, you know, diapers for their babies, you know, dog food for their dogs. You know, we're on here, all of us grown men, talking about a bunch of bullshit. And you got people in North Carolina, all through state of Florida. These people are ravaged, man. And the feeling that you get when you do something for your community, like actually do something for your community, I don't see anybody on any of these fucking panels doing that. Nobody. That's what we need to do, is you need to get boots on the ground. You need to get out there and do some shit. Do something for the community.
Well, absolutely, I completely agree about getting out there and doing something. And you obviously aren't familiar with me. I get out there and do things. You know, I went out and gave away thousands of dollars of stuff to get people out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on March 13, 2020, and rushed out a book ASAP that was 1,000,000% on the money about how long the pandemic would last, the scam, and what was going to come with those clot shots, because I had already figured out all that research from being way ahead of the game.
So you
And
went door to door to
the game
people who
on
didn't have
is
food,
weather warfare.
people who didn't have
Hey,
shit to change their babies'
here,
diapers with. Those are the people
hold,
you were helping.
Steve,
your
Steve,
See, you're trying
This
to
is what
put
I'm talking
no,
about.
no, no.
right,
You can't even put down what I'm saying. We raised
Jack,
awareness about what was coming, this agenda
right,
of death and depopulation
Zach,
before it happened. And we
yes,
almost got on the news. Had we had more people come out, if I would have had $50,000 of stuff to get away, we probably would have had a big enough crowd out there to get people out. But people come out for free stuff. And I gave away nice, expensive hoodies and merch and got a lot of people out there. So I commend what you're doing. But understand the knowledge I've been working my ass off to get out. You know what? If the world had gotten behind that, you wouldn't be having to give out what you're giving out right now to the hurricane victims, because that's not Mother Nature, if you're not aware of that. That's not
No,
Mother
this is our
Nature
federal
just went through the
government
East
taking the
Coast.
tax
I
dollars
explained
and
how
using
bad
them
this hurricane
properly,
season was going to
helping the
be this
people that
year
need it
a
now.
year ago.
here, please, Zach, thank you. Steve, thank you for being out there, being the hands and feet, and being a neighbor. And I'm glad to hear the way you said it too. It's you're cooperating with and supporting the federal aid that's been shared. I understand what Zach's saying. The past brought us to here, and we could all, I agree completely, Steve, but please don't underestimate people, because I know that when I'm not online, my focus, my care is on making a better world. And it's going to take us all. It really will take us all to make a change. But this is why, another example of why, well, aid being shared is a good sign. But that's something else I wanted to get across to Congress. We've got all of these healthy men and women fit for war. Let's use those resources and the people, the personnel, to truly get in and start restoring, rescuing, and then we can start restructuring, rebuilding. But until
Nothing, I can tell you, Jack, nothing I've done in my entire life has even come close to the experience this week of going to these, I mean, cities that I'm the only white dude there. People happy as shit to see me, happy to have a hot meal from the American Red Cross, you know, happy to have diapers for their kids, happy to have tampons. happy to have adult diapers for these old elderly people in these old trailer park communities. They don't have any water. They're giving out tarps, half the roofs torn off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's fucking important. All this other stuff is just freaking rhetoric. We're just talking about it over and over.
Can we pause for a second, though? Can we pause? Because knowledge is actually paramount. I understand that it's great to help out people, and that's why when I was younger, I quit a 6-figure job to work for minimum wage in a group home and volunteered at a teen homeless shelter so I could help people and redeem myself. Redeem my soul. I was working in a corrupt real estate industry. I wanted to do something positive. So I totally get where you're coming from, and it is the greatest human reward to help others. But knowledge is more paramount than anything. And part of what you just said is actually, it's kind of sad. The Red Cross is one of the most evil industries in the entire world. The majority of the money they take, they keep for their bureaucracy. And what is the Red Cross? The Red Cross comes from the Templars, who are the original bankers.
See, now you're going to run into this bullshit, and I can tell you, they
It's not
showed up
bullshit.
in their van.
It's
It
not
is
bullshit.
Because they showed up
No,
in
it's
their
not
van
bullshit.
with hot fucking meals
It's
for
not
people.
bullshit.
No questions asked. So don't give me that bullshit.
It's not
You can have your
bullshit.
ideology,
Here,
whatever
Red
you want
It
to
Cross-
do.
doesn't.
The
Let's
Red
stop
Cross-
arguing.
They don't have any way
Please.
to fucking read your book. They don't have any way
Here,
to get online.
Steve.
This guy doesn't know shit.
Okay,
Hey,
I'm
my
gonna
hey,
interrupt this.
Peace
Hey,
out.
Please.
hey,
Peace and
asshole.
love.
Hey,
no,
asshole.
no, Zach, not insulting, please. Okay.
Hey, Jack. I think
Jack.
one thing
Jack.
that Steve Storage says is that your purpose can change at any point in time in your life. You know, you don't have to be stuck on one thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I've learned for myself. Our purpose does change. And when there's an opportunity, when there's a calling, as many of us that can answer should answer.
Jack, can I interject, though? See,
Please.
listen, I do not disagree that helping people is the thing we should be doing. But if we don't have knowledge, we are not going to overcome what's happening in the world. And see, I had to make that chippy remark. Nobody needs to read your bullshit book. Asshole. Had my book been viral, people would have seen through this scandemic and they would have known not to get the clot shot. And there'd be a lot more people still here today. There'd be a lot less profits for criminal Pfizer and Monsanto. And you know what else? Had they read the book before that, they'd understand weather warfare. If you were aware of my channel, you would have known why a real bad hurricane season was coming this year, because I laid out exactly how it would happen. And all year I've been talking about watch out for September 25th because they do it every year. You know what happened September 25th, 1961? JFK gave his speech about the future of weather control. What happened this year on September 25th? Oh, that's right. Hurricane Helene formed. And it wasn't arbitrary the day it formed. See, again, what I get frustrated about is people like him. He thinks he doesn't need knowledge. And he's promoting the Red Cross.
Here, please,
you know how
please,
criminal the Red Cross
please,
is?
Zach, please don't read too much into what you're seeing, okay?
You got
He's
to, though, Jack.
emotional.
My
He's
people suffer for lack of knowledge. And that's
right.
what's going on
Well,
in the world.
Zach, right. So what are we going to do with this knowledge? We're sharing it to the masses. I want to get it on the world stage. That's
Exactly.
truly
Exactly.
what. Well, while we're complaining about each other for not doing enough or not doing things we think we think others should be doing, we're missing sight. We have opportunities that we've not yet tested, that we haven't yet explored. I've been trying to get the attention of local city officials, state officials, federal officials, because I think the masses, the majority of people, don't know what they're participating in.
Of course they don't.
Right. So everything can be changed, though, too. Even the Red Cross, while the formulation and the symbols, we can't overlook the good. We can capture the good within even these corrupt systems, and we can get rid of the crap that doesn't serve us. But it is time for humanity to unite and overcome what was.
Humanity can only unite, though, through knowledge. It's going to be knowledge that unites humanity.
If I can step in here, because I wasn't able to explain myself out there. You know, you're talking about research and stuff that you're posting online. I'm talking about being on the ground, seeing what things are being done for these people who haven't had a hot meal in weeks. and they pulled up no problem. Hot meals. I mean, I probably gave out 100 hot meals to these people that haven't had any food. And you're going to sit there and tell me how they're evil and all this. That's fine. We go down the rabbit holes. We search everything that's wrong with something, and then we promote that knowledge of that. But I can tell you, have you ever
It's
seen?
not down a rabbit hole. It's common sense.
That's fine. It's common sense. It's common sense to you. It's not common sense to everybody else who doesn't have access to a
Because you don't
computer
have enough knowledge.
or a phone.
I don't
I have
like
all the
phrase
I have
like
all the
down
knowledge.
rabbit holes.
Trust me.
You don't know
I'm
who the
extremely
Templars
smart.
are? You don't know who the Templars are?
I'm not. I don't fall into a faith or religion
That's
to
why you're
guide
on
my.
here repping the Red Cross.
I'm
It's
not
involved in
repping the Red
everyone
Cross.
these
I'm
weather
telling
warfare
you what
things
the
where
Red
they
Cross
scam
does
people's
in
money and then they give out
reality.
100 hot meals after they just destroyed
In
a million
reality,
lives.
how do they destroy lives again? What do they do to destroy lives?
What do you know about Project Curious, the first military experiment of hurricanes in 1947?
So we're going to
Here's
go
what-
about the whole cloud seeding and all this
It
stuff,
goes beyond
right?
cloud seeding. You know
okay.
Kurt Vonnegut? You know Kurt Vonnegut, his brother Bernard Vonnegut,
No,
who
I
worked
have
for General
no idea.
Electric,
See,
who was
this is
one
my
of the
problem
chief
is you're
pioneers in weather warfare.
you're very well versed in whatever history it is that you're researching on this. But have you ever seen Red Cross show up in a van and give out hot meals to all these people that are in need? Have you ever seen that?
Have
Is
you
that
seen
not?
when Red Cross turns down all the volunteers and tells you not to show up too, like for Katrina? Because I got to experience that back in 2005.
You showed up, went there to go volunteer?
I did, and they said they don't need any volunteers while the city of New Orleans suffered.
Well, I was in New Orleans when they suffered. I was stationed there, so I can tell you it was
You
pretty
happened to
fucking
be
bad.
there, okay.
You couldn't even fucking get in.
But right, they kept everybody out because it was by design.
You couldn't get in. It was fucking flooded. When all those levees broke, you could not get in. So you can do your thing, and I'm not trying to fight with you, but when you're sitting there trying to tell me negative shit about the Red Cross, that's fine. Just like we got negative shit about federal government. I don't believe in the federal government, but I tell you what, for
It's all part
a
of the same
week and a
corruption.
half, I've been taking taxpayers' money along with a whole shit ton of volunteers, and we're out there door to door handing out cases of food, handing out cases of water, handing out diapers, handing all this shit to people, and to see the tears in their eyes, to be thankful that somebody showed up and so appreciative. I tell you, it's changing what I want to do with myself in my life.
Well,
It's
that's
changed.
awesome.
you,
That's
brother.
right. Absolutely. I felt way better about myself when
Well-
I was making $10 an hour working in a group home and volunteering at a homeless shelter than when I was
Whoa.
making six figures doing corrupt real estate deals.
Hey, let me jump in here, because that lesson, it's truly the path of enlightenment, the path of finding our purpose. The way we find ourselves is in service to others. That is really why we're here. What's the point of us surviving if we're not going to benefit the greater world that we live in? And I think that's what's happening right now in the world, in the greater picture. There's wars, there's disasters. People are having transformative experiences, not in good ways either. It's evidence that it's time for mankind to change. You guys familiar with Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers?
I'm not.
I'm surprised. He's an interesting guy too. He's studies the sun and the magnetic fields of the earth, and Earth has patterns of these climate worldwide catastrophes, these shifts in the way that nature operates, and there's signs that the world is changing. We're going through a transformation, and right now we're existing at an age where technology and where technology has surpassed our social and intellectual development. Kind of coming back to what you were saying, Zach, the key for humanity is your hat. Truth matters. We've got to share the truth. But prideful and afraid and egoic people, they don't care about the truth. They just care about what others think.
Sure. Jack, I want to make a point, though, for our friend who did do the nice thing, and that is to be commended and awesome work. And you're right. If you if you move your industry to something of service, you are going to be a lot happier and you're going to sleep better at night. But people, listen, if we do not inform ourselves about who's running this world and for what purpose, there's going to be a lot more people needing hot meals all over the place a lot more frequently. Again, these people had their plans etched up in stone for 42 years, and they were called the Georgia Guidestones, and they said to reduce the Earth's population to 500 million. And there's a reason they took it down on 7/6 on George W. Bush's 76th birthday, a member of a very prominent society, Skull and Bones, which gets its symbolism from how the Templars bury their dead. So this is where I see you're trying to do something nice, but at the same time, you're repping a very evil organization. And this is how evil works. They do little nice things in the daytime and say, oh, look at the nice thing we did. But then you don't realize that they're also using technology that's been developed since 1947 to bring that same destruction because they make way more money off it. Like you just said, you're using taxpayer dollars to hand out things. That's nice. But you know what those taxpayer dollars do for the bankers? Profit with interest. That's why all wars are bankers' wars, including weather wars.
Yes.
Jack, please let me make this point, and then I'll shut up. 1947. Look it up. Project Kiris. It was the first military experiment with the hurricane. It happened October 13th, 1947. There were other experiments between then. The longest ongoing study was Project Storm Fury, which went from 62 to 83. And there's a reason 83. And there's a reason Milton made landfall on the day, leaving 83 days left near. It's another story. It has to do with Genesis 8:3 and where the biblical flood ends and why the agency that keeps track of all this stuff is called Noah. But anyway, 1947, that was the first on-the-record military experiment in the U.S. with a hurricane. That's also the year the brand Tropicana was established. And if you're watching CNN with the Milton thing, Anderson Cooper was supposedly on set in Bradenton, Florida, right next to the Tropicana headquarters all night. Now, what else happened the morning before Milton made landfall? They demolished the Tropicana Hotel in Vegas to make room for the new baseball team, the Athletics. And please listen, Jack, because I'm going to make a point about things that you really believe in that I want you to think more about. They demolished the Tropicana Hotel to make room for the Athletics baseball stadium. And then later that day, Milton rips the top off of Tropicana Field, another baseball stadium. Again, 1947, first hurricane experiment, also in Tropicana, the orange juice brand's established. Now, there's so much more to explain to this, but if you learn gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, you can see how all of these storms are perfectly named and make landfall accordingly systematically. Like, for example, Milton equals 83. It made landfall on the day, leaving 83 days left in the year. Like how the biggest hurricane experiment ended in 83. And they like to pay tribute to the biblical verses like Genesis 8:3, where the biblical flood ends. Again, storms bring flooding. These storms are being engineered. Our nation is not sovereign. They can destroy us with weather warfare, and they have a lot of towns. Paradise, California got wiped out by the code. Maui last summer got wiped out by the code. There's a million more layers I could explain to this. But again,
guys, seriously, I got to interrupt. This is important. This is really important. I just blew a homeless guy just to brighten up his day. Okay. I'm a very charitable person.
That's why you're not a
At
serious
Pimp
person,
Unslaved.
Paul.
I'll see you guys in a bit.
Serious person. That's why you're not a serious person. You're not really about anything, Paul. Driving down the highway without a license plate's the pinnacle of government rebellion.
Zach, I've been waiting patiently.
Okay, but again, people need to know about the
No,
system
not
in
again,
place.
Zach. Not again, Zach. I've been waiting patiently to get a point out. You're going to the past, my friend. Yes, there's patterns in gematria. There's all sorts of patterns of this corruption. Yes, there's evidence that the government and taxpayers' knowledge and resources have been used against us. So what do? The path to freedom.
Only thing to do is you can't look to your government officials to help you. You can't look to your media to help you.
Zach, I'm looking for people to help me.
People need to ally amongst knowledge. And just like Thomas Jefferson said, Thomas Jefferson told us a long time ago, he said, if you do not rebel every 19 years, you will lose rights, liberties in your way of life. And he said 19 years because these people work on the 19-year cycle of the moon. Okay? It's rebellion or bust. It's revolution or bust.
Right. So let's do something.
People aren't going to know what to do unless they know
I
who
do.
the enemy is.
I
who's
know the
orchestrating
enemy.
this.
This is the thing. Our enemy is not flesh and blood. Our enemy is the principalities, the rulers of high places. Those are the governing bodies of corporate, banking, government that everyone has been willing to serve and ignore and fight about. So we have the opportunity to truly raise a voice from the people. And it doesn't have to be me, but let's find someone to get in front of Congress and demand enough is enough. The evil shows. There's no denying it's time for reforms.
This is the thing, Jack. The people you're asking to represent us in Congress aren't going to represent us. They're there to ignore us and make sure the status quo maintains. How
about we try? How about we try? That's all I want to do.
Did you see the phone calls I made the day of the storm? The politician that was all over the news who represented the 26th district of Florida, who was on the news the day of Milton saying people were insane for questioning if the government could influence the weather. The reason they chose that guy to do that is because literally on his 26th birthday was the day that the U.S. Congress, it was January 17th, 1980. It was his 26th birthday. He's an older man now. That was the day the U.S. Congress passed the same bill they passed in Geneva in 1977, banning weather warfare. So this same man who wants to tell you when he was 26 years old, who now represents the 26th district, people can't influence the weather, yet we banned weather warfare January 17th, 1980, when the U.S. military had already admitted to it in the time of Vietnam. See, Jack, everyone's in the clouds not understanding what time it is. And
the time is now. It's time for the time is now. The evidence is clear. If we unite together, we have all the facts, we have the knowledge, we have the information. So if we unite together using the connections and technology of today, we can create some introductions, we can form kind of a network. And if people unite, we can overcome these divisions of wealth and authority. And then when secrets are no longer being protected by employees in the government, and these corporations don't have all their, decision makers sworn to secrecy with these non-disclosure agreements. I mean, if we want to corrupt the infiltration of the secret societies that has truly manifested itself within the systems, it's up to the people. So if we unite to overcome wealth and authority, we can bring changes. I know it. I trust this is God's plans for us. I really do.
Well, that's exactly what we have to do. And again, that's the point I'm making. And for all you guys in the chat who think like, again, I have passion, you guys. I'm outraged about the evil shit that's happening in the world. Again, what's the quote about? It's no sign of sanity to be well adjusted to a sick society. It goes something like that. I mutilated it, but that's essentially the sentiment. That's kind of what I see in people. Just people who are so just chill and just adjusted to the evil and complacent. I'm outraged. I'm outraged that I have to pay tax. Well, Paul will be out there and say you don't have to pay taxes. Well, then you can end up in the slammer too if the IRS comes up your ass, which I've had to deal with in the past. Hey. But again, I'm outraged that I live in this system where I am made to comply by force, and I know that I'm having to pay for the weaponization that's being used against we the people. And also, I'm glad that some of my tax money is going to a gentleman who's out feeding people, but I realize the only reason he's having to do that is because these psychopaths that have the keys to our military are choosing to use the technology in this way. When JFK talked about weather control, he talked about the future of not having drought. Instead, it's being used to instigate storms and wipe out people's livelihood.
Right.
Again, this has been going on, you guys. That derecho that went through Iowa 2 years ago.
Hey, Zach, please. Thank you. I know you're passionate. Okay. And here's something I want to point out. There's a reason we are gathering. I believe in divine order, that there's a reason for all things and the reasons we cross paths at this time on earth. The earth is nuts. It is not healthy to believe in what the world believes in. But Zach, what you said, my family, my friends, my career, all of that, it ended because I got a reputation of being angry. I had to work on my anger, brother. So I can help. What helped me with the anger is the belief that beyond the anger comes from the feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, of not being able to change it. But I convinced myself to believe with faith, we can change this world. And every day since 2018, since I got this idea in my head that, you know, through Congress, there could be a change in paying for wars to funding, you know, support. I got that idea in my head in 2018, and every single day since then, I have failed. I failed to achieve my goals, but every night I've been able to go to bed with the knowing that I'm trying everything I can think of, trying to make good for my old ways, even though I didn't see combat as a veteran. I want to save other veterans from having to see combat for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what's
All right, well,
interesting
I'll
to
get
me,
out of
Jack,
here.
is this
Here, again, to make the point, though, they demolished the Tropicana that morning, and it's symbolic, just like how they purposely demolished people's homes and livelihoods
are you
with
from
their
Florida?
orchestrated storm.
I'm literally less than an hour from Clearwater, where Tropicana Field is. You know that the dome is made out of a tarp, right? A plastic. And they had
Yeah.
100-mile-an-hour winds come through there. What do you think was going to happen to that dome?
But again, how many storms have gone through Florida without the top getting ripped off since it was established in
100
March
years?
3rd? It was
It's not
established
100.
March 3rd, 1990, shortly after the 1989 World Series earthquake that wiped out San Francisco, where the Athletics
We're not
were
talking
playing.
about
And the
San
last thing seen
Francisco.
on TV was
We're talking
Jose
about Tropicana
Canseco, the
Field.
Athletic, before it cut to Fuzz, who then went to his career and played for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
We're talking about
Yeah,
Tropicana
you might
Field
think
in
it's all
Florida.
funny, but this is what
No,
they're doing.
you're fucking
Zach.
running off on like a crazy train. We
No,
haven't
it's
had a
not a crazy
hurricane
train.
hit
It's called having a
Tampa
higher
in
IQ.
100 years.
Two different
100
topics.
years. 100 years, no storm has come through Tampa.
There, learn gematria. You'll see that Tropicana Field equals 83 like Milton, and then you'll understand why it
Okay,
happened on the
I'll
83 days
I'll let him
do.
do his closing thoughts to that. I'll let him go and do his closing.
Well, actually, I'm feeling maybe it's time to wrap up.
But again, what I want to say our friend has here, who doesn't know much about anything, and I don't
wait,
mean to
whoa,
belittle him, but
whoa,
it's true.
wait, no,
Coincidence theory.
don't run with that,
Yeah,
Zach.
it's
That's
coincidence
not
theory.
fair.
This fucking guy. I don't know
Yeah,
much
this
about
fucking
anything.
guy.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
This
appalled.
fucking
Zach
guy
is
who called it all
appalled.
before it happened.
Zach
He's been
likes
calling it for a
Hold
decade.
so
on.
much, right? Zach
are-
loves Paul so much. He's exactly like Paul. He's a gaslighter.
No, I'm not exactly
He's trying
like
to.
Paul.
He thinks he can piss me
There's
off. He thinks I'm a new guy
similarities.
around here or something, right? Whatever. Hey, Jack, good stream, buddy. We had talked about some good shit. Zach, suck a dick.
Oh, Steve, thank you for joining.
No, but honestly, the
don't-
reason I am frustrated is because the world's full of Steves. Guys who don't
Wait,
know that
wait.
much and don't know their place.
Well,
Steve, hey, go hand
Zach.
out the taxpayer stuff. You'll be doing it for the rest of your life because it's going to get a lot worse.
no, because there's men like me. We're going to solve these problems. We're going to move beyond the challenges and the difficulties, and we're going to find a way to get it done, because it's not just a few of us. And there's a lot of people who are sharing the wisdom, sharing the encouragement, and doing the work. So I don't want to diminish any of us, but I do know that we can all do more.
Jack, will you do me a favor before I leave? Can you pull up an internet so we can see the screen? And can you go to my favorite website, gematrinator.com? I want to do something here real quick. So for the guy who just said suck a dick, so he can see what I'm talking about. If you can put the webs, or if you can allow me to share the screen, I'll do it real quick.
If you can, please do. I mean, I got it pulled up.
Share screen. Hold on. Let me change this around. Can you just throw my screen up here real quick? All right. So again, gematria, you guys, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. You learn this, you will see through the ritualism. And if you think this is a joke, I'm sorry. You got to get you got to work on the IQ. Look at this. I'm going to type in 3 words here. I'm going to type in hurricane. I'm going to type in Tropicana, and I'm going to type in athletics. And I'm going to make a point here. Do you see how these 3 words have the exact same value in 3 out of the 4 ciphers? Again, they tore down the Tropicana to make way for the Athletics' new ballpark the day that Hurricane Milton ripped off the top of Tropicana Field in a purposeful destruction, because these are targeted storms. And by the way, when Helene formed, again, that was September 25th, the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. That's the day leaving 97 days left in the year. And as I explained last year, when they burned up Maui, they blamed it on Hurricane Dora. And that happened 4 years to the day of the cartoon Dora the Explorer concluding, just like how Milton just got made landfall on the anniversary of Milton the Monster, the cartoon debuting. And all of the media was referring to it as a monster hurricane. This is all mockery. But anyway, I explained how this year, when The Rock turns 52 on May 2nd, he used to be a Miami Hurricane football player, that you have to understand, last year when they burned up Maui, it was perfectly synced with him debuting the movie for Moana, the live action, where he plays the character Maui, the fire god. It's a lot to explain, but that was perfectly synced with The Rock. I said, just wait until he turns 52 on May 2nd, because the first act of weather warfare ever admitted to in the world was on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 52. 52 is this huge number connected to weather warfare. You can see that hurricane equates to 52. When Helene formed, that was exactly 146 days after The Rock's birthday, exactly 146 days after his 52nd birthday. And here's where it gets wild. Think about the song Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. The lead singer of that band, his birthday is the 146th day of the year. The new quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes is Cam Ward, who came up from Washington State. Jack knows that we had a windstorm out here on the same day that the Hurricane Helene formed. We had a big windstorm out here in eastern Washington where he used to be the quarterback. And his name, Cameron Ward, equals 52. And his birthday is the 146th day of the year. Scorpions equals 52 like hurricane. That hurricane formed 239 days after the anniversary of that song coming out, which is the 52nd prime number. If all of this seems like it's a coincidence to you, I'm telling you, this is why the cabal rules, because they're a lot more intelligent than the masses. And that's what I realize is a major problem in this world. That's where my concern is. I'm worried that humanity has just been raised to be a little bit too slow, a little bit too special ed to understand what is taking place. It's like evidence doesn't add up, like the last guy who's like, you know that it has a cloth top. Did you just hear what I said about how they tore down the thing for the athletic stadium? Hey, buddy who said that, go back and look at this. Go back and look at the 1989 World Series earthquake. You'll see it happened October 17th, 1989. Go back and look at what day they opened up the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. They opened it up March 3rd, 1990, 137. Let me make this point real quick, Jack, and I'm done. They opened the stadium 137 days later. That is the 33rd prime number. It opened on March 3rd, 3-3, like Jose Canseco wore 33, who went on to play for Tampa Bay. You want to know how old Tampa Bay is right now? Tampa Bay, the city, is 137 years old. What was the score of the World Series game after they came back?
I don't care.
I don't care. 13-7 after the earthquake game, which wasn't Mother Nature. But Jack, one last point. The mayor of Tampa, her name is Jane Castor. Castor and Pollux are Greek gods, which have to do with athletics. Okay. And the feast day for Castor and Pollux is July 15th, which is also Tampa Bay's birthday. She is the 59th mayor of the city. That cartoon, Milton the Monster, celebrated its 59th anniversary the day it made landfall hitting the Tampa area. And it made landfall 59 days after the anniversary of HAARP's patent, which was created for military purposes to experiment with storms. So again, for my guy out there who's like, it has a cloth top, you better check to make sure you got brain cells up here, not cloth for brains. This stuff's not an accident. It goes on every single year. I've written books about it. You said, fuck your book. Maybe you should go read it, because again, had the world gotten behind the knowledge, you wouldn't be out there giving away my tax money and everybody else's to feed people who just got ravaged by the military, asshole. And yeah, sorry, Jack. I think anger is a real thing. Anger is the reason I've been here every single day for 11 years trying to fight tyranny and evil. And I get sick of know-it-alls like
I've had enough of it, though, Zach. Did you get your point? Zach, I'm trying to be polite. Is your point done?
Jack, is my point received?
Have
or am I
you-
wasting my time here too?
You're sitting here looping in your anger. You're kind of disrespecting what I am doing right here. You're not thinking about the future things I'm suggesting. You're back to the patterns of the past. And I don't mean to offer this
I'm not talking
tone.
about the parents of the past. I'm talking about what's going on right now. Jack.
I know. Zach, thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, what you're offering, it's been received. There's corruption. There's patterns. So what are we going to do?
Spread the knowledge and stop it.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to do, but it seems the knowledge I have is, I guess I don't know. Zach, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm tired of offending people. So I think it's just time to wrap it up. Thank you.
All right. All right, Jack. Again, knowledge is the only thing that can set us free. And that's what Jesus said as well. So we'll leave it there.
Amen.
All right. Appreciate it, Jack. Thank you.
Respect to you. Thank you, my friend. DeFreak?
Jesus said the truth will make you free. But I just want to end with the Proverbs 29:2 that I posted. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And I think it's been a lack of leadership overall for probably 50 plus years in America. And it's been a betrayal of the leadership as well. So we've got a lot of work to do. And, I'm just hopeful that, Americans can rally around something. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's just my opinion. And thanks for having me.
Hey, I know how Chuck and others will run this, but in some part of my spirit, I hope some people in America can start rallying behind me. Because, brothers and sisters, we are the generation that is here today. I've got some other people who popped in the back. I think I am going to wrap this up. We're nearing 2.5 already. We are the generation. We're at a tipping point. The advancements of technology, the advancements of logistics, of tracking and analyzing. We are living in an age of data where the confusion and the profitable misinformation, the profitable miseducation of the masses has resulted in this world where immorality enables criminals. We have criminals enabling criminals with the governments and with the corporations. Who's protecting the individual citizens from the greed and exploitation of these selfish systems? Nobody is. Well, God is. You are. I am. We are waking up. We are learning about some of the corruption, some of the problems. We're learning that there are solutions out there. There are men and women who are doing the work, who are bringing solutions and support to those in need. And maybe that can be you. Maybe there's a way in your life, in your experience today, tomorrow, as you're out and about, maybe an idea will be inspired with you, how you can give, how you can serve, not just those who serve you, not just the family and those close-knit small group of people who keep you safe. See what you can do to create a better world for the world. Because, brothers and sisters, within each of us is the power of God. The will of God can be lived and observed through you, your deeds, your words, or you can push God out You can push God out with your pride and arrogance and your focus on the problems and your belief that you know it all. I used to do that. I encourage you, brothers and sisters, redefine your own values. Determine which variables in your life are given how much weight, right? Because it's real easy for a variable, a piece of information to become an excuse. Like, life can be hard, so you can make an excuse to be angry. You might not approve of someone in their behavior or words, so you might make the excuse that it's okay to be rude and insulting. I've played that game. I encourage you, break the game, shatter the mold, break away from the old you so that you can redefine what's important to you. And if you redefine love as important to you, you will seek it. Those who seek shall find. So pay attention to what you're seeking, pay attention to what you're sharing. And until next time, please do the subscribe thing, join in, share support, whatever. Share some love in your life. And until next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. Thank you again. God bless us all. I still did it wrong.